Maximum is 40. We were 30. This prison was never filled to full capacity at any time. Its capacity is 1,250. We're talking 800, closer to 900 will be the going number. Between 1962, when the first arrivals arrived here from that old prison, and the last prisoners to be brought in 1990, the number of prisoners here, including repeat offenders, a chunk of them, is 4,722. Everybody started on the floor with 2 mats and 4 blankets. Those bunks you see at the back there were only introduced for the first time in this prison in 1977.
Wow.
The small cells, a single bunk. The big cells, double. And glass window was installed in 1975. So the only thing that is original is the bars. Glass is later. So it was open to the weather elements. Toilets and showers, water has always been brackish on this island, except now they do the desalination, seawater. So we never drink the brackish water. So drinking water was ferried from the mainland every Friday with a cargo ferry called Robben. And this water was rationed, the 2 prisons and the village where the officers stayed with their families. Also, folks, the cells were open at 6, they were locked at 4, we were counting morning again, counting afternoon. Lights 24 hours on. There was never a problem of load shedding, of course. Robben Island, the system has always, from way back, been diesel. Now Robben Island is getting out of diesel. At the moment, it's dual until 2025. We have now brought on solar, and it's working with this generation. Then 25, diesel is out. Only solar will be the one working here on the island, folks. So there was never any heating in the cells at all during our time here. The speakers, they were to play music, all kinds, except of course Bob Marley. They said his music was too political. And the 3 meals, somebody asked me, there they are. This was done deliberately to perpetuate the racial stereotypes. Not to remind you you're not the same, and so you're going to be treated the same. Classic apartheid mentality of divide and rule, nothing else. Because control for these officers was key. A united prison was a formidable prison, and they were never going to contend with that. So they would do everything in their power to divide us, to manipulate, to play us against each other. And of course, there are days when you feel that some people are buying into this. Then there are times when we are pulling together. And that is why we always believe that we must never fight about being in prison. Because prison is just an extension of what we are fighting for, the freedoms of our people. We could argue about politics because of ideological and philosophical differences, and we don't see eye to eye. But when it came to this prison, we were of common mind. So it was not effective in other ways. Now, folks, when you grow up in a place like Soweto, you are definitely going to think that this is the best place on earth. Because maybe you have never been anywhere else. You know nothing else other than this thing. And remember that Soweto was never meant to be permanent. Soweto was actually transitional. And that's why minimal infrastructure. Where this Soweto is today, it was actually white farmlands until the year 1950, when government introduced a piece of legislation in Parliament called Group Areas Act, and simply declared certain parts of this country to be exclusive for white people only. And then, Sophia Town, a suburb of Johannesburg, will be declared for whites. They have never lived there. So those who are there, people of color, out. And where do they take it? Southwest of Johannesburg. No electricity, no tap road, no nothing, not even a community swimming pool. We never even knew about those things. If we wanted to swim, we went to the dam. So for me to come in contact with something that is called a swimming pool was in Randburg, My mom was a domestic worker, and she told me this is a swimming pool. Now I know a swimming pool. So we then have to compare, to say, this thing I thought was the most beautiful thing on earth is actually squalor. It's terrible compared to what my eyes are seeing now.
Right.
And the question is why? Why? Now you see, the more you get to understand why, the more you get to be conscientized to the realities of racial discrimination and protection of white privilege. So, there's another question. What are you going to do about it? One, some people can simply say, okay, one day things will be fine, and we'll all live happily, between the races. Me, I went out to protest, to picket, to march, to defy these laws. Now, for us, children growing up in Soweto, we're not only settled with these inequalities, we're also settled with an education that was unjust, inferior to that of our counterparts. So now we're also in a struggle in the schools. That's why we're student activists, as much as we're also youth activists. So that's how we started Force, contributing towards the realization of social justice, of human rights, and restoration of dignity. We didn't talk big words like freedom and all those things. All I wanted was to see a tarred road. All I wanted was a school where we don't have 80 teachers to a kid, to a teacher. Did I say 80 teachers? 80
students
learners to a teacher.
Yes.
Now, for us, that was key. I liked science when I was science subjects when I was growing up first. So a lab for us, it had no chemicals and instruments. We had to take our textbooks to go and do theory in there. So those are the things that we're fighting. But naturally, these things are a culmination of an unjust system. And that meant now your human rights must be respected. Your freedoms of choice and association must be guaranteed. And that meant what now? Dismantling this system. Now those are the bigger issues now, as time goes on. But for me, the thing that really pushed me over the edge, when I say the catalyst out there, here and now and never, 16 June 1976. I've always found it strange that our brothers and sisters in the Afrikaner community, they suffered in the hands of the English. The English even made concentration camps, put their women and children in there. During the Underworld War, the English even attempted to ban the language Afrikaans because they couldn't understand them. What is it that they were saying, during this whole thing? If you go to Town Museum in Pretoria, you'll get this whole picture. So Afrikaans was a persecuted language. What does the government say in Parliament? Afrikaans will now be the medium instruction in African schools at the expense of our indigenous languages. And they accept us to keep quiet, to take it, because they know better. So we took to the streets to protest against this unjust law. They never really, and I'm being honest with you, they never called us into the boardroom, take out cutlery and tea, biscuits, and those nice things, and sit us down and say, okay guys, what is that you want and how do we go about achieving that objective you want? We were never conscripted as black people. So on the 16th of June, it was the first time in my young life seeing this person called a soldier, armed to the teeth, to confront unarmed youth who are simply marching and protesting against an unjust law. You all know the results of that. Death, killings, arrests, detentions, and so forth. You know, folks, on that day, we carried a guy called John, and then we went to a corner, and then we put him down, and we could see him, and this one is, there's no life here. Now, in our culture, children don't go to others to go and report a death. And this is our friend. But his family must know that he's died. He's dead. That's the legacy of apartheid. Dad changed children into these monsters. So by 1979, I had to leave this country because I could see that one of two things can happen. Either I'm going to prison or I'm going to die. So I went to Tanzania. And I lived in Morogoro, in Mazimbu district. And then I also lived in Angola. But there, folks, just for only a short time, it was not good for me. I'm sorry if you come from Angola, to what I'm going to say. You know, about on my 6th week, I decided to call a serious agent general meeting with me. And I was under a net, and the agenda was one question: puzzle. You leave South Africa, possible death or imprisonment, and here you are, you're going to be killed by a mosquito. And the answer absolutely not. And the meeting was out, and I was out of Angola. I went to live in Zambia. I was arrested in Secunda in 1984. We were they gave us 10 weeks. First to go to Swaziland, establish a base, and meticulously plan an extraction. These two boys, John and Craig, both white. Craig worked in the office of President Peter Botha, Union Building. John in the office of the Foreign Minister Peg Botha in the Foreign Affairs Building. And over the years, they really gave us very good, valuable information that we could use to preempt internal and internationally what South Africa wants to execute in furtherance of their objectives. But somehow they were compromised, lives in danger. So we sent word to them to say, look guys, if you have girlfriends, good. If you don't, look for them. And make sure you've got girlfriends, and take them out on a safari. Kruger National Park, all expenses paid. But the girlfriends must never ever know that you are going to dish them there, so that they must not be collateral to the whole thing. And 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. at the Pedro Car station in Secunda, that's where the extraction will happen. And they'll go to Swaziland. From Swaziland, they'll be flown to England, and the extraction will be complete. Never happened that way. We were not aware that one of us was feeding the other side with information. And so they made an ambush. And 5 were killed, including John and Craig. And then 5 of us were captured, and 1 escaped. How do we know? That guy who escaped was a state witness in the trial and gave evidence against us. So folks, I was tortured and all things done to me at John Foster Square police station in Johannesburg. It's now called Johannesburg Central Police Station. And then arraigned, then charged. We were before Justice van der Horst and 2 assessors. We had a legal team, powerful guy, George Bezos. And it took 7 months and 2 weeks. He told us from the beginning, he knew what we didn't know, folks. He said to us, guys, it's not going to be good, but I'll do my best. We only realized when that guy came in to testify, this is what he meant. And he did his best, folks, because we were never sentenced to death. Instead, I got a 25-year sentence on the 21st of September 1984. And I arrived here the following day into the cell. And this is where I played lots and lots of dominoes. I didn't know dominoes before I came to prison. And I fell in love with that game. I avoided Scrabble. The cheating was unbelievable. So yeah, I didn't play that. And yeah, we got up to mischief. Yeah, some days, you felt light and powerful. Some other days I'll wake up and say, man, what did I put myself through? Will I ever leave this place? So those were like your roller coaster days in prison. Nothing was ever smooth here. Some of the prison officers, they were very good to us. One of them is my friend. We visit us as families a lot. His name is Christopher Brandt. He was 5 years older than me. And Christo helped us a lot to smuggle in information in and out of prison, things like that, you know, because information for us, of course, is what really kept the hope alive. It was key, knowing the political was out there. You know, those pickets, marches, the anti-party movement, and all those things. Yeah, we go together in that sense. So, life in prison. Now I'm back talking to you. Oh, of course I'm married. My wife will not be happy if I don't say it. 5 children, folks, and all this is after prison. Before then, I was not married. I don't even have a girlfriend before I came to prison. Yeah, and 2 grandchildren. I'm 58. Any question? All right.
I have a question, a comment.
A comment?
Yes, a quick one. So thank you so much for sharing your history, your story. It is important as Black people that we continue this struggle. It is not over. There's a lot of instability, economic instability, and we, the new generation, going to continue to work towards that for liberation. So thank you.
Thank you. And it's also important for me to say that we must not only continue to fight for social justice, for human rights and freedom as Black people, but as South Africans, as the people of the world, because we have common problems of injustice that is happening to people, of destroying the environment, and if we don't fix these things now, those who come after us are going to inherit a terrible world, and it will be on our conscience. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for questions, folks, but Mr. Mandela, hey, you know, yes. So please reserve the question until we get there. Let's go, guys. Time to go. That's Mandela is being a very patient man. Take that.
We are now going to Nelson Mandela's cell. Up there. I guess we'll go this way.
Dat was het F-B-sectie.
G-section.
B-sectie. Oh, there. Dank je, man. Heel mooi. Gewoon een rondop.
Oh, moet ik pakken?
Where is he?
All there.
But there was nothing over there.
No, nothing. That's about both teenagers. With the blue cap.
This is a story that must be told over and over again, especially to our young people.
Sorry guys, we follow that gentleman there at the front. That's where Mandela is located. He said that. And Chris Paul, don't worry about it. So we are in the front. They still have to join us. For the shooting.
D section, F section. Wow, I cannot believe I'm in Nelson Mandela's cell. Oh my goodness. This is hysterical. Oh, this is amazing.
Okay. Yeah, that's the right place. Yeah, that's the right place.
Yeah.
That's the right place.
Be sexy.
Now, folks, please do not panic about the ferry. Don't panic, folks.
Okay.
We have another group that is still behind us, so you are on time. Don't look at the watch, please. Just look at the top there. It says, be safe. Africano, then it's about the back. Be safe. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Be safe. The Mandela will be 60 hours. Of course, Mandela's from outside, the photo video, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's where the photo came from Africa. Where he was hiding his diaries. The diaries is spun out by a prison officer called James Gregory. Came by Mike Mahama. That's Mandela the boss. And this is a suit. And when we go inside there, that cell of Mandela will be the fourth one on the right. When you see a red bucket, you know you've arrived at Mandela's cell. Now, we will not be coming back here. So if you want to take pictures, please do so. And then enter inside there.
Okay.